It's time for the Saturday Sports Show on WMIX at WMIXSports.com. Recognized by the Illinois Broadcasters Association as one of the premier radio feature programs in the state. You're about to discover the very best mix of interviews, discussion, and sports talk on the dial. Live from the studios of WMIX, the Saturday Sports Show starts now.
And good morning. Glad to be back with you at the Powerhouse on Broadway. Full house studio for you this morning on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
That it is. Full lineup coming your way this morning. Of course, we'll talk Rams baseball. They are 3-0 on the season, of course. They have outscored their opponents 35-2. Had 3 games already this week. That's more than most teams can say. Tim Holloway, Mount Vernon Rams baseball, will stop by. We'll talk with Lance Boldt, head coach of the Lady Rams. Lady Rams softball gets started today at the Fairfield Invite. Another team off to a hot start in high school baseball. Sam Root and the Weber Trojans. Of course, a perfect game from Ty Henderson the other day. Hits a grand slam yesterday in a win, and Weber is 2-0. Jeff Harrison of the Mount Vernon Lady Rams soccer team. We'll talk with him about his team's start. Matt Patterson of Woodlawn Lady Cardinals softball. We'll talk to Matt. Of course, his team will get started on Monday, or his team will play Monday, weather permitting, at the Jefferson County Invitational. The Lady Rams games in that invite will be on AM 940 and WMIXSports.com. Jeffrey Drake is the voice of the Harrisburg Bulldogs on sister station WEBQ. Harrisburg, of course, you may or may not have heard, won a state title last weekend in 2A boys basketball. Of course, some drama attached to that. We won't necessarily get into all of that with Jeffrey. We will talk on that today, as we did witness that last week. Then Randy House, the Rend Lake College Warriors, in case you missed it last Sunday, they won a Region 24 crown. They head to the national tournament on Tuesday at 8:30 up in Danville at Danville Area Community College. We'll talk with Coach House about his team's performance this season. Just 3 losses on the year. Over 25 wins, another successful stint at RLC this year. Of course, the brothers Verhines from Woodlawn, a big part of that. We'll talk to Randy House a little bit later in the program. Of course, it has been a busy weekend of high school sports. Some soccer going on today. There's also some girls softball, boys baseball, but especially the official end of the IHSA Class 3A and 4A boys basketball season, and that'll put a wrap on high school basketball, at least for us. And we want to wish the best of luck to the Cahokia Comanches as the South 7 Conference champions play for a state title today. And it's good to see Cahokia not only get up to Peoria, but do some damage when they were up there yesterday as well. And it's a big win yesterday for Cahokia.
Oh, absolutely. Watched a little bit of it, caught some, probably about half of it, I guess, yesterday. And, yeah, it's always fun to see the larger schools like that. You see it in 4A, Edwardsville. You know, they fell short in their bid, but you got to see maybe history again being made for the second time. A young man gets the opportunity to try to win 4 straight state championships in Simeon in the bracket above Edwardsville's bracket against Stevenson. So, you know, you got a lot of local interest, and then, you know, some history that we've been following for the last few years with Jabari Parker. So it's fun this weekend as well.
Well, and a lot of fun. And, of course, the Comanches trying for a state title day. They got a big win yesterday. Edwardsville didn't quite get there. I think they were favored going in against Stevenson, but Garrett Covington, Trey Harrison, the crew just came up a little bit short yesterday, but it sets up an interesting title tilt in both classes today.
Well, Cahokia gets a shot at number 1. Cahokia got to feel pretty good. They look pretty good yesterday. Lincolnshire Stevenson, good luck. You're not winning. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, if Simeon was going to lose, it was to Proviso East last night. Now with, you know, Proviso East out of the way, Lincolnshire Stevenson carries in the biggest slingshot you could ever imagine in that game. I mean, Simeon's on a mission, and then, as we said, we're all rooting for Cahokia today, get a first place and get a state championship in the South 7. But Chicago Morgan Park's pretty darn good, too. They've been rated number 1 all year, most of the year in 3A. So this is a tough test for the Comanches, but nothing they're not used to, and I don't think they were even intimidated rolling into Peoria and playing a team from the big city yesterday.
No, because, and as we've seen from Cahokia all season, if they want to win a ball game, they're going to go out there and win a ball game. And, you know, today is going to be a little bit of a tougher test in the state title game. But yesterday, and Keenan Minor getting off to a hot start, and that's going to be key for them. But as they key in on Keenan Minor today, it's going to be up to the rest of the D1 capable talent to step up. And, you know, if they do, Cahokia, I think, has a chance. But Beyond that, Morgan Park's a very tough test for these Comanches. Busy program, busy lineup for you today here on the Saturday Sports Show. Tim Holloway of the Mount Vernon Rams will lead us off, but before we head to break, don't forget it's a Drive One for your school event at Ford Square. Test drive a select Ford motor vehicle. Ford Square and the Ford Motor Company will give back $20 per vehicle test driven back to the Mount Vernon Township High School Athletic Department. That starts at 9 o'clock today. It'll run until 3:30, up to $6,000. It's an easy fundraiser for Rams and Lady Rams Athletics. Also, a by-donation car wash going on in back as well. It'll be the Mount Vernon Rams baseball team washing from 9 until 10. It'll be Lady Rams soccer, to my knowledge, from 10 until 11. So get out there and support the Mount Vernon Rams and Lady Rams. It's at Ford Square today. Starts at 9, ends at 3:30. Should be an easy fundraiser. Easy money for the Rams and Lady Rams athletic programs. We'll take a break here on the Saturday Sports Show. When we come back, we'll talk Rams baseball with Mount Vernon Rams head coach Tim Holloway here on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Tax time means savings time. Use that tax refund at Second Chance Auto to purchase the best quality used vehicle around. In fact, in their 32-year history, the selection has never been better at Second Chance Auto. Clean, dependable, and great-looking cars, trucks, minivans, and a huge selection of small, mid-size, and full-size SUVs. Most priced under $10,000 with 3-month or 3,000-mile warranty. Yes, your tax refund is your ticket to the vehicle you've always wanted. At Second Chance Auto, Route 142 East in Mount Vernon. Call 244-4582.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show. WMIX and WMIXSports.com, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
We welcome back to the program after a successful 3-0 start to the season. He is the head coach of the Mount Vernon Rams, Tim Holloway. Tim, great start to the season, outscoring opponents 35-2. I think you'll take that after your first week.
Yeah, we'll take that. It's a good start, and we did some things right, but that's all it is—a good start. So. Got some tougher games coming up, and looking forward to the challenge of that.
First question is, I guess I got to ask, how much time was put into practice this week to get ready for this car wash for an hour this morning?
We've been practicing for years on this. Each year, twice a year, spring and fall, we get a little practice in. So I got some good leaders out there. They should be able to run the deal.
Good leaders, and that's the thing that's a key, I think, with your team so far is getting out. One of the few teams in Southern Illinois to have multiple games already in the book this week, and you have a senior-dominated crew, a lot of veteran guys on this team. How does that help to show the other guys what to do as far as when this season begins?
Well, I think that's a big part in our great start. Not only have we played well, we have some seniors that have been there before, so there's no jitters, there's no this is all new to me. They know what the deal is, and they're ready to go. So it was a nice transition to open. If the team we're playing has some young kids, then we're going to have an advantage early on, and we've seen that this week.
The other one thing I've taken away, actually two things I've taken away, not only the hot start to the bats, and that may or may not continue throughout the long season. You're going to have your ups and downs, but pitching thus far has been great at times, but at times when it appeared to be a little lackluster, the kids have been able to work themselves out of their own jams, and I think that's been key already to keeping the other bats quiet on the opposing team. But you take a look at what Brock Fulkerson was able to do against Pinckneyville. You take a look at the great start Tyler had against Salem. You look at Landon Thomas and his first appearance that I can remember him starting. But one thing I took away, Sawyer Harrison the other day kind of got himself in a bit of a jam, but got himself back out of it. And the thing I like about Rams baseball is that regardless of who's pitching, they have a great defensive background behind them. And I think of the play of the year already when Sawyer on a bunt falls on his bottom and still is able to throw the guy out at first base. And things like that seem to be what define Rams baseball and keep it successful.
Well, I think, you hit the nail on the head with the run situation. I do feel like this is a team that's capable of scoring some runs. 1 through 9 in the lineup, I feel like we have the opportunity to hit the ball. Now, some days we're going to hit it at them. We've been finding a lot of gaps right now. But what I'm always looking at, what our staff is always looking at to give us a chance every day, our pitching and defense have to be there. And, there was a few jams. Some of those guys walked a few guys that they normally don't. They're always ahead in the count. And I'm not worried about that. It's all for early. You know, we had the 11-run inning at Peenyville, and Brock sits out for 45 minutes, comes back and walks a few. That was the only struggle he had. But, one of the biggest parts as a former pitcher, I think the mental aspect of pitching is huge. You have to be a bulldog out there. You get a hit off of you have to go to the next pitch and compete your way out of it. And we have some nice competitors that can throw strikes. So I hope that, they give us a chance. Our defense has been solid. We just have a couple errors, one on a pickoff and then one on a guy that's down in the back a little bit, who we feel very confident in defensively, a couple on him. So we're going to be fine. Hopefully defensively we just have to make sure we take care of those two things, limit the free bases, and then the hits are the bonus. The runs are the bonus. Those will come.
Speaking of this start, it's 3-0. Is there anything to it, or is it just really just a 3-0 start and a beginning to what will be a long baseball season?
Well, it's just a good start. You can't get satisfied ever. You enjoy the wins that come, and you have to get ready for the next day. So you have to bring the focus every day because, like we tell our guys, there's two types of players in this game: the humble player and the player that's getting ready to be humbled. So if you don't play every day or practice with a little chip on your shoulder and practice to beat those best teams out there, then it can get you. So there's a long way to go. We're enjoying it. We like our kids to play with the good intensity and enjoying the game and playing with a free mind. And I think they're doing that right now, and hope that can continue.
Well, of course, 2 years ago, this coming week became one of my favorite weeks. You were able to pick up Waterloo in the regular season, and it becomes Triad, Waterloo, and Mattoon with the doubleheader all in the same week. It's a great test for a team like the Rams, and you know what? Should be a great week of baseball next week, weather permitting.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure kids are looking forward to it. But with baseball, different than basketball, we don't have to worry a whole lot about who we're playing. We need to take care of the ground ball, fly ball to fly ball. And we need to execute. What I've been pleased with is our quality of bats, our approach at the plate. We're not getting ourselves out. We're taking pitches we should. And that's the type of things we're going to have to do to be successful. Putting the ball in play with two strikes. One of the folks this year has been two-out hitting. Last year, we got a lot of guys on, and we hit with nobody on, but it seemed like at times when we had runners in scoring position, we struggled to get them in. But so far, our guys have been up to the challenge there. So, it's all about what we do, in my opinion.
Well, and all about what you do, and you guys always tend to do it well in a 3-0 start this week. Tim, I know it's a busy day, and you have to get on to the fundraiser at Ford Square to start washing some cars. And you know what? If I have to ask, once you're ready to kind of call it quits, I guess, on teaching and baseball, as a future as a car detailer, is that something you might consider post-retirement?
Well, I had some good practice growing up on that situation. So Dad always wanted me to keep the car clean, and I'm not too good at it right now, though. My truck's a little bit of a mess, so I need to get back into that. And I just need a little more practice, and maybe we can work that out.
Our final question is at WMIX Sports Social Media Question of the Week, and this week's question is, what food would you eat at home but not eat in a restaurant?
Yeah, that's a good one. I worry about seafood around here. We're pretty far from the ocean, so I don't eat a lot of seafood around here. I know some of it's fine, but I don't eat out a whole lot. I'm pretty much oatmeal for breakfast and try at least eat healthy a couple meals a day, but not big on seafood around the Midwest.
Fair enough, Tim. Good luck next week. We'll have all of your games, of course, right here on WMIX, and have fun today at the fundraiser, and hopefully not only will the Rams and Lady Rams Athletics raise a ton of money, but maybe the Rams will get some donations in the car wash as well, and good luck to you guys today.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Tim Holloway, head coach of Mount Vernon Rams baseball. Busy lineup for you today. We'll catch up with Lance Boldt. Actually, we'll preview Lance Boldt in the Lady Rams softball season. Of course, they get started today at the Fairfield Invitational, a tournament they had a great deal of success with last year. Weather permitting, scheduled to play in the Jefferson County Invitational and make their radio debut on Monday. This is a Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
We'll be back after these.
Zero, zip, zilch, nada. The goose egg is by far my favorite number when it comes to financing. And now, 0% financing is backed by popular demand. Hi, Roy Schmidt Chrysler dealer at King City Chrysler Center in Mount Vernon. That's right, qualified buyers can get 0% financing for up to 84 months through Ally Financial on the 2013 Chrysler 200 Touring and limited models. And that's not all. You'll even get $1,000 in customer cash. The Motor City has reclaimed its name with the 2013 Chrysler 200. From the state-of-the-art engine to its rank as an IIHS top safety pick. You'll love everything it has to offer. Come see one of our associates about 0% financing plus $1,000 customer cash at King City Chrysler Center, 1603 Broadway in Mount Vernon, or see our inventory online at kingcitychrysler.com and find us on Facebook.
Welcome back to Personal Banking is more than our tagline at Community First Bank. It's the truth. From our 5 locations in Jefferson County, the debit cards tied to local schools that we offer, the dozens of scholarships we provide to local youth, and even our president who sits at the front door. The Community First Bank difference is apparent. Our mission as Jefferson County's premier community bank is to provide the best customer service around. Stop by one of our 5 locations and experience true personal banking. Community First Bank with locations in Mount Vernon, Woodlawn, Dix, and Ina. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Glad to have you with us this morning as we continue on with our loaded lineup today. And, of course, our next guest, his team will get a start today at the Fairfield Invitational. It's Lance Boldt, head coach of the Lady Rams softball. Coach, good morning.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. I have to imagine maybe some butterflies. Season gets underway today. You make your head coaching debut with regard to Lady Rams softball. Are there any butterflies there?
Just anxious to get out there. Just saw the weather. It's supposed to be nice today. Upper 50s. I thought it was supposed to be a little colder than that. But just excited to be out there and get the chance to play some games, and just more excited than anything else.
First tournament at Fairfield, opening game. A lot of good teams in that Fairfield tournament today. Tell us who's in it and the format set up today for your team and others at that Fairfield tournament.
Well, it's a bracket tournament. We play Marshall first game, and then we have Salem and Carmi in our bracket as well. So we'll play one of those 2 teams, depending on what we do. And, there's 8 teams in it total. We'll definitely play 2 games at least. Hopefully we'll play 3.
Coming in new to this season, new time, new coach, how has it been not only for the girls adjusting to your coaching methods, but for you to adjust to the girls as far as softball is concerned?
Oh, I'm sure there's some adjustments being made. We, as far as their side of things, they're definitely learning some things that I'm trying to teach, and these girls are great. Unfortunately, we've had 3 really good weeks, which has been great. Most of those days have been inside, which we get a lot done indoors. We have a lot of good practices inside, a lot of good drills and different things that we work on, especially defensively. We've got our first and thirds in there, our bunting situations, just our feet work, our feeds, all that kind of good stuff. But when you're indoors, you just don't have the elements that you get when you're outside, and you don't get the wind, the cold weather. A couple of days ago we were outside hitting live, and a lot of the girls were complaining about their hands hurting, and which is understandable because it was really cold that day. It was cold, windy, rainy, but it's just good right now to get a chance to be outside on a nice day, and these girls they've listened. They're very attentive. They're just a good group of girls. Couldn't ask for a better group of girls. Very coachable.
You talk about getting outside. The Rams baseball team has played 3 games. How many times have you been outside already this spring to try to get things done?
Well, we've been outside this whole past week. We've been outside, and a couple of days last week, but primarily just on the outfield. We've had a hard time getting things done as far as the infield is concerned at Lincoln Park, and we were finally able to get on the infield yesterday, for the first time. So primarily these last few days, it's been outside on the grass. the girls, they've responded well to that. They've been fine. They handle that. They understand the situation. So at least we've been outside with the elements, which is, I think, really important. Throwing inside and hitting inside is just not the same as being outside. Not that we weren't able to get things done inside, because we were, but there is a big difference.
Talk about some of the kids you're going to be relying on starting today in this 2013 softball season.
Well, as far as returning starters and players that we're going to be counting on a lot, it starts, I guess you could say it starts with our catcher, Paige. She signed to go to Lakeland next year. She's the real deal. I definitely count on her a lot. We have really good communication between the two of us, and she's that leader on the field. She's somebody that the kids look up to and respond to really well. So I'll definitely be counting on her behind the plate this year. And then there's a whole bunch of girls that are just solid players that people respond to really well. And Mallory Garner over at third base, Kelby Kawava, Summer Card, she's coming back from Mater Dei. She was over there for a year, her junior year. She's coming back this year. Those are some of the upperclassmen that the girls definitely look up to.
Well, and of course, taking a look down the line at the schedule, you have the Jefferson County Invitational, weather permitting, on Monday. But then you lose a couple of games this week due to cancellations not related to the weather, and kind of makes it a tough start.
That really stinks. Compton, they canceled. I'm not sure what the reason was with that. Hamilton County, they canceled as well, and it's just frustrating for, we want to get as many games in as possible. So we're going to look at trying to add a couple, hopefully. But as far as this next week goes, those are some open days now that we're probably not going to get back. So really, it's kind of frustrating. But Monday we got the tournament, and weather permitting, I know it's supposed to be kind of cold and maybe rainy, but I think we have a good chance of getting that in. And we got Waltonville, Woodlawn, and DeCoyne coming as usual, and we're going to play DeCoyne and Waltonville. And, again, opportunity to get outside and play, which is the main thing.
Main thing indeed. Of course, our final question, one that you're going to become accustomed to over the coming weeks, is our WMIX Sports Question of the Week. Of course, you can find it on social media, but what we want to know from you as we go off topic is, what type of food might you eat at home but not necessarily feel comfortable eating in a restaurant?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. Things that I eat at home that I don't eat out probably a whole lot. I love my bananas and peanut butter. I eat that a lot. You probably wouldn't get that a whole lot at a restaurant. I wouldn't mind eating in front of people out in public, but every day I'll eat my bananas and peanut butter. So, sometimes I'll put a little peanut butter on my spaghetti. That would probably look kind of weird to people.
That's definitely unique, but peanut butter's a good food, full of protein. Nothing wrong with that.
Yes, absolutely.
Lance, good luck to the Lady Rams today, and hopefully we get to see you for some Lady Rams softball on Monday afternoon.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
That's Lance Boldt, head coach of the Lady Rams softball, and, of course, looking to get started like they did last year and taking some wins away from that Fairfield Invitational. And then you heard it, they will play DuQuoin and Waltonville at the Jefferson County Invitational on Monday. Those games will be on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com, of course, assuming that Mother Nature stays away, and that's going to be a big thing, I think, this season, is that we were so spoiled last year with the sun, the dry weather, and the great temperatures early on. It was 74 degrees when we opened our spring slate on the second Tuesday in March last year at Salem, and then we're fighting wind chills in the 30s on Thursday, and it's just a far cry from how last year started out. But, I mean, DC, you can attest, it's rare that you get all of your games in a spring sports season like the Rams and Lady Rams mostly did last year, but this year, I mean, we're already seeing some rain sprinkle in. It's been cold. It's been kind of nasty, but, give credit to those who've gotten some games in already.
Well, the fields have been the main thing. I mean, usually counting me, teams don't get a lot of games in before April 1st. But you have the opportunity. Mount Vernon got 3 baseball games in this week. A lot of teams are going to get a lot of games in yesterday and today. But the way the forecast looks with the amount of rain we're looking at tomorrow into Monday, it may be Wednesday before everybody can get out and play again, depending on the field and facility. So this is a case of you got to get games when you can. I don't think we're going to have that perfect spring like we had last year, where teams were maxing out and getting their total amount of games you can have.
To me, this is very reminiscent to 2008, and that's the one I remember mostly for being so cold so late. and having to deal with the rain and having to deal with the cold weather through about mid-April. It seemed like it finally started to warm up mid-April into May, and then really kind of got hot toward the end of the season. But, it's one of those where coaches all over the state were lucky last year to get all of their games in, and through the Twitterverse and from those that we follow at WMIX Sports and those that follow us, and seeing that some of the areas of the state, especially north of I-70, north and west, have really struggled to get games in. I mean, your teams that kind of hug I-70, your Cumberlands, your Marshalls, your teams of that ilk have been getting games in, but there are some that haven't started yet, and that to me is what's difficult to believe.
It's too cold, and the sun hasn't been out long enough to dry fields appropriately, and that's what's going on.
Precisely right. And, of course, one team that can brag about a field is the Weber Trojans. They've made some great improvements to that over the past few years. They will host a regional this year. We'll talk with Weber Trojan baseball after the break with Coach Sam Root. We'll talk about the perfect game the other day. We'll talk about Ty Henderson throwing that and then hitting a grand slam yesterday. We'll talk about the rest of the Weber Trojans as well here on the Saturday Sports Show. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Hi, this is Terry Prosize, a Vice President with Community First Bank of the Heartland. We're excited to team with WMIX to bring you every pitch of Mount Vernon Rams baseball and a great assortment of Lady Rams softball. Keep your dial tuned to AM 940 or listen on any device at WMIXsports.com, where you will also find broadcast schedules and archives of every game. Mount Vernon Rams baseball and Lady Rams softball, only on WMIX and WMIXsports.com, powered by Community First Bank. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX online at WMIXsports.com. It's presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Chris Hugo with Danny Zerwinski, Mike Richardson, Jeff Crow in studio for you this morning here at the Powerhouse on Broadway. And, of course, we're glad to have you. Follow us on Twitter at WMIX Sports. You can listen to us online and find archived broadcasts at WMIXsports.com. Our next guest, well, his team's off to a hot start. Got a perfect game out of Ty Henderson, I believe it was Thursday, if I recall correctly. 14 strikeouts and a 14-0 win over Alvarado, and then get a grand slam at a tie yesterday. But it's been a great season to start for the Weber Trojans. We welcome Sam Root to the program. Coach, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. A great start for the Trojans already, and, of course, talk a little bit about that perfect game. Ty Henderson with 14 strikeouts threw over an Alvarado team that was previously 2-0. Anytime you get a game like that early, that tends to bode well for your future.
Yeah, Ty throws very well all the time, and he throws a lot against a lot of bigger 1A and a lot of the 2A schools we play. And he's got great velocity. He is consistently in the strike zone with 3 pitches. Just overmatched Alvarado that day, and it's I think third or fourth, second perfect game he's had in his career, third or fourth no-hitter, and we're blessed to have somebody with his talent and work ethic, and we'll have to get a lot out of him again this year, like we usually do.
When you talk about this year, you have been one of the lucky teams to get multiple games in. You're going to get games 3 and 4 in the day. How has the spring gone for your team by getting outside and getting some in before the game started this week?
Well, helps have this tarp. We got it my first year here 4 years ago. The boys just rolled it off as you speak, and they're pretty much teaching the freshmen right now the art of tarp removal and rolling, and we're going to slap it on right after these 2 games against Grayville today. But that helps a lot, and we put the hours in to get the field playable. So we're fortunate. Plus we put the work in, and it's just, we're playing Noble. We played Noble last night. They hadn't even been on me until they said, and Grayville's the same way today. And we've been fortunate to be out for about a week and a half, and it just helps. And, you can you can only do so much in the gym and things. You get to see live and, get spirits are up when you're outside. It's actually real baseball practice. So, it's I always feel like it goes a wet spring and a dry spring. So I said, since fall, it's going to be a wet spring. And you just got to try to stay ahead of the game. And I'm probably giving the Weather Channel or weather.com more clicks than most people around here trying to stay ahead of and predict.
Yeah, I think you'll be okay in getting this doubleheader in the day. It's just next week it's going to be bad. But when you talk about this team, your schedule for Weber Township, a 1A baseball school, you bumped up that schedule considerably over the last couple of years, and that's helping your postseason success. Talk about some of your non-conference games this spring that you'll be having.
About a third of our schedule is against 2A schools. We play Fairfield twice. We got all 2A next week. We got Hamco Monday, a tough Johnson City team who we've been fortunate to beat 2 out of the last 3 years on Wednesday. Several other 2A schools we try to play. And then, some of our 1A non-conference, we got Gallatin County. They've won a couple regionals in a row. And Oakville, we just try to take mapping. We were supposed to go to Carmine and play them in Carterville. We play VRC 2A. We played them a couple times this year, and you just want to be challenged. We played Teotopolis twice, St. Anthony twice this fall, and you can't be afraid to play anybody. You just want to go out there and get better and take the challenges ahead, and get mentally tougher all the time.
Well, and one thing that we have noticed and we've talked about over the past couple of seasons especially, the improvements that you guys have made to your baseball field to make it look so great. And this year, again, we've talked about this before, but you're rewarded with hosting a regional. For those who may have missed that previous interview, what does it mean to you to be rewarded for that hard work and get to host some postseason in Bluford?
Oh, it's amazing. We've been wanting it for 3 years, and that's something you can't control. And I feel like, after we get this first regional, I feel like it'll be easier to get the second one. I feel like we just revamped our whole entire backstop from dugout to dugout. We got brand new lights getting ready to go up within a week or two as soon as it dries out. And, hope to get sectional sometime. We work hard at things, and we're proud of it. Our community's proud of it, and we want as many people to see it as possible.
Of course, Coach, we plan to have you on multiple times again this year, and you'll get used to our WMIX Sports Question of the Week this week. It happens to be, what is maybe one food that you would eat at home, but maybe not necessarily feel comfortable eating in a restaurant?
Oh, my. I have... I don't know. I do some different concoctions. Probably something combined with hot sauce, and somebody normally wouldn't combine with hot sauce. I feel like I probably go through a bottle every week or two. So I couldn't give you a specific one right offhand, but probably something somebody turned their nose at. But I have a lot of hot sauce on.
Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. I love hot sauce myself. Coach, good luck today. Doubleheader against the Grayville Bison, and good luck the rest of the season as well.
Hey, I hope to talk to you again shortly. We appreciate it, okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That's Sam Root, head coach of the Weber Trojans. And, you saw that. We saw that tweet come across at WMIX Sports on Thursday about the perfect game, and Ty Henderson throwing 14 strikeouts to win against previously unbeaten Alvarado. And, anytime you can throw a perfect game, I don't care the level, I don't care the class, I don't care. That's just a great accomplishment. And, Saturday Sports Show, congratulations to Ty Henderson, whom, we've been talking about for a few years now. He came up 6'5" as a sophomore and saw him on the basketball court, found out that he was pretty salty at baseball, and, pretty salty indeed for a perfecto.
Well, he's got that body and he's got that length. And, you talk to a lot of people and they remind you how pitchers want to throw downhill, and that's what he exactly does when he gets all stretched out. He's pretty impressive on the mound. So, he's done a good job, and look for big things here the rest of the year for him, for sure.
Oh, definitely. And give credit to Sam Root, of course, the athletic director, baseball coach. And, we've seen just how tough it can be to advance in a postseason. And to do that, you really have to beef up your schedule. And Sam certainly has not shied away with the Trojans schedule, playing a lot of great 1A programs. And then, of course, some of the 2A powers that he's put on that schedule as well.
Well, it's important for them to play up as much as possible, and I think for them the best thing is to host a regional. It's nice to see other teams getting opportunities to host things and do whatever. So very nice to see Weber Township making strides, not only on the field, but off the field as well with their facilities and everything else.
And, of course, Weber has a softball program again this year. Coach Alva's taking the reins there, and it's good to see them get that back. Of course, we'll catch up with him and talk Weber softball throughout the season here on the Saturday Sports Show as well. We still have Woodlawn softball talk to come. It's that time, and today is the end of high school basketball in the state of Illinois. As Class 3A and 4A will tip off at about noon, a new 3A third-place game, and then once the clock hits about 10:30, the season's going to be over with a 4A state champion crown. So we are there. We are in baseball, track, softball, soccer mode right now amongst some other spring sports, and it's just hard to believe that we are to that point, but we are. And, of course, Jeff Harrison, Matt Patterson still to come here on the Saturday Sports Show. The junior college basketball still going strong. The Rend Lake College Warriors will play on Tuesday night at Danville. So plenty to talk about here on Saturday with you on the Sports Show. Don't forget we archive our broadcasts at WMIXsports.com. We're also on the social media at WMIX Sports on Twitter and Facebook, which, while we have some extra minutes here, the social media question of the week is maybe name a food that you'll eat at home but won't eat at a restaurant. We all have something that maybe we'd love to enjoy, but we eat it at home, may not eat it out in public, and that's a pretty simple question. That's a simple answer for me. I will eat ribs at home. Anything, I will eat traditional wings at home. I've finally gotten over the traditional wing thing. I'll eat them in a restaurant now. But I try not to eat ribs out in public. If I'm in a great place known for its barbecue, big city like Kansas City or Memphis, or even some places here in Southern Illinois, maybe I'll partake in ribs. But other than that, I try to reserve them. If it's a dry rub, I'll eat them out in public. But if they're saucy and wet with some great barbecue sauce, just because it gets into your fingernails and your fingers and it makes you all nasty, so I don't eat ribs out in restaurants.
But I've had the same thing. It's so funny you talk exactly how I was thinking, but I'm still thinking about the question. But that particular scenario, I've had to adapt and use a fork more than normal. And that sort of takes away the just throw the blanket out there and the barbecue sauce and just wallow around in it, you know. But if you get a fork, sometimes in public, now I'm talking in public, you know, you can accommodate that and be a little less messy, I guess. But no, that just throws it all, you know, that's just like an unfair advantage, you know, if you use a fork and something like that.
Yeah.
But it's got to be done sometimes.
Mine's definitely ribs.
I'm going to go out a little bit and go this way, even though it's good food, it's good tasting stuff. Just had it recently is crab because of all the fighting and battling you got to go through to get crab meat out. It's great stuff and all this other stuff, but it's a battle. So I'm going to say crab, or I'm going to say spaghetti because spaghetti is such a disaster.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, you know, because it's such, you know, scooping and spinning and biting, and then you can't get it all in.
That's why you dump.
Crab or spaghetti, because crab you got to battle everything to get to it, just to get a little bit of meat. But then you get that done, and then you got to go back again. It gets kind of messy and sloppy in public. And then the spaghetti thing is just depending on what you want to do as far as, you know, battling with it. You cut it up, you twirl it, you get it all in, then you can't get it all in. That's kind of what mine is: ribs and or crab and spaghetti.
You guys talking like that, and I'm looking right across from Crow here, and he's just like, you know, he's salivating at the, you know, at all the talk like that. I can't even think of a food. I mentioned a little bit on the ribs having to use a fork or whatever, but I drink so much protein in a day that I have to do all that stuff at home, but because you can't mix that, you can't get it out, and you know you don't want to take out your can and mix that in public or whatever. So I got to do all that stuff at home. So that's probably what it would be.
Mike, you disappoint me so much.
Now the fork, I'm telling you, the fork. You can't go to some of these restaurants and not pass up their ribs, and you can't wallow it all over you. You got to understand that. You have to sacrifice a little bit. I'm sorry.
Anyway,
I don't let everybody see the fork. I try to hide it a little bit, maybe.
No, for me, I also have to think about this because I haven't found anything yet that I'm afraid to eat in a restaurant that I would eat at home or eat at home, not in a restaurant. Danny did bring up a good one. I do struggle with crab a little bit, but yeah, if I was to put anything out there, I would go along with DC and say crab is it because it's a lot of work for hardly nothing, and you see these people who are experts who can rip it and go. Yeah, if I was to do anything, it would be crab.
Another one for me is probably tuna. I prepare it a certain way, and there is no restaurant that will ever come close to how I prepare mine. So tuna's the other one, but ribs mainly because, you know, you think about it, you're in a business setting, you can't get all messy. Not with the ribs. And then you go to shake some dude's hand later, of course you got to use the right, or some madam's, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Then you have all that saucy goodness, it doesn't matter. You can wash your hands 15 times and rub all the skin off. You can use some pumice even. And you're not getting all that out of those crevices. You could even go buy a toothbrush just for that and try to get it out of there, and it's not happening. You're still going to have some dried up, crusty barbecue sauce somewhere underneath your fingernail or thumbnail.
There's always a little drop or something. It's going to find some barren spot on your hand or wrist. Again, It's just guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
I mean, like I said, you can wash your hands. Wash. It's not coming out. Getting out of there.
Do you cut up cauliflower in your tuna?
No.
Really?
No, my tuna salad, if you want to call it that. I use a ton of Miracle Whip.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I'll throw some hot sauce and some hard-boiled egg in there.
Egg and cauliflower.
And then maybe if I'm really feeling froggy, I might throw a little bit of Heinz ketchup in there.
Ooh, never went that route. Well, I'm a ketchup guy, but man, I've never went that on tuna. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't mind a few drops of hot sauce because, contrary to belief of people, they think hot sauce is just hot.
Oh,
it brings out the flavor of the food. You can put a couple of drops in any food, and it just brings out the flavor in it. So don't get alarmed when we say that we use so much hot sauce on a lot of things.
My man Frank is not spicy. My man Frank's just tangy and adds some flavor. Now my girl Cholula, she's not really that hot either. Mm-hmm. She probably doesn't want to hear that. Instant rim shot, and but she had some flavor as well, and it's just good times. Speaking of good times, Lady Rams Soccer Talk to come here on the Saturday Sports Show. They'll be busy today as well at the Drive One for Your School event at Ford Square. They'll be watching cars, I believe, from 10 to 11. But you can get out there at 9 o'clock, still about 11 minutes away. Get on to Ford Square, test drive a vehicle with one of the Rams coaches or Lady Rams coaches. It's in the back showroom of Ford Square, the back entrance. Go on in, test drive a vehicle. $20 per vehicle goes back to the MVTHS athletic department. Up to $6,000. Easy fundraiser. We always hit it. You might as well do it today for Mount Vernon Township High School until 3:30 at Ford Square. This is the Saturday Sports Show powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
We'll have Jeff Harrison next. Stay tuned.
America is a nation on wheels. Everyone has at least one automobile. We use them for shopping, work, everything we do. But they can be a threat. Some accidents can't be prevented. Your professional Pekin Insurance Agency, Page Insurance on Crownview in Mount Vernon, can help protect you from a large financial loss when an accident happens. Call Page Insurance today at 242-7000 about low-cost auto insurance from Pekin Insurance. Ask them about the many money-saving discounts that are available. Depend on your hometown professionals. Pekin Insurance.
The Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois welcomes Dr. Beth Conrarty to their medical staff. Dr. Conrarty specializes in comprehensive pain management using a multidisciplinary team approach by working with other specialists for optimal diagnosis and treatment of pain. Dr. Conrarty will treat most conditions of the spine, including management of cancer pain. Dr. Beth Conrarty, helping to make life better day after day at the Orthopedic Center of Southern Illinois in Mount Vernon. Call 618-242-3778.
Hi, I'm Bria Ashby with Community First Bank. It's always my goal to make the transition to Community First Bank as easy as possible for our customers. Our handy switch kit helps in doing just that. Whether it's direct deposit, auto transfers, or online banking, I'm here to help. Come see me at our 42nd Street location to open your account today and let me remind you how banking should be. Community First Bank with locations in Mount Vernon, Woodlawn, Dix, and Ina. Welcome back to Personal Banking. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
And back on the Saturday Sports Show we are. WMIX, WMIXSports.com as we head toward that 9 o'clock hour. It is presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
There we go. We welcome to the program now. He is the head coach of Mount Vernon Lady Rams and Rams Soccer. He's Jeff Harrison. Jeff, good morning.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
You know, going pretty good. You guys have actually gotten to start your season. You've played Massac on the road, I believe. You're in the Metro East tournament as well. And, you know, things... A loss to Edwardsville, I believe, that can happen. But you tie Massac County on the road. It was a cold day on Thursday, and you have to somewhat be pleased that you're getting some games in this early with it being so cold and wet.
Yeah, absolutely. You just don't know what to expect at this time of year. Last year, this time, I was coaching in shorts and T-shirts. This year, I'm wearing 3 layers of pants to get through the games. You just don't know what you're going to get. I'm hoping for decent weather today. We were playing in sleet on Thursday. We've had a tough start to the season with a lot of bus time, a lot of time on the road, and some cold weather. fighting through a lot of injuries and sickness and scheduling conflicts. But all things considered, the girls are playing really hard to be in these circumstances, and I've been proud of the effort that came with so far.
Baseball and softball struggle to get outside because obviously the dirt infields and dirt spots that you can't play. What does that do for soccer for your team this spring getting out? Does that affect you at all, or do you guys get out there more times than not?
No, it's definitely affected us. It's been nice to be in this tournament over in Edwardsville, which was, part of the reason I wanted to get over there is because soccer in that area is just a different world. If you don't step outside of Southern Illinois to observe what high school soccer is all about, you really don't see the big picture at all. And I wanted my kids to be able to see that. So not only are we facing really quality competition, I mean, some of the best competition in the state comes out of this metro area, but we also had an opportunity to play in an amazing facility. We're playing on a turf field over there, which is something we would not otherwise see. So as far as, gameplay in this tournament, we've been really unaffected. It could rain 5 minutes before the game. It could rain during the game, and you probably wouldn't even feel the wetness on the field. But as far as us trying to get prepared for these games, we started tryouts at the very end of February, and we had 2 outdoor practices before we played our first game. And obviously, with a sport like soccer, when you're practicing in a gym, you can do certain things, but you're also very limited in other ways. And so it's maybe not affected wins and losses, but it has affected how prepared we've been able to get ourselves to try and go against this tough competition we've had so far.
March is a time, as you look at your schedule, you have a game here, a game there. You'll go from March 19th to April 1st without a game. And then all of a sudden you almost have 14 matches or more in the month of April. I mean, is that by design to get things going, or is that just part of the scheduling of getting teams in and games in with as many as you'll have in the month of April?
That's just kind of the way it works out with the girls. For whatever reason, we have a 2-week gap kind of between coming up after Tuesday's game. Fortunately for us, the first time ever, it's actually worked out where we've had that gap and spring break fall on top of each other. In the past, it's been once the games picked back up, well, that was the week the spring break happened, and you'd have conflicts there. So we are at least fortunate that spring break and this break in our schedule do fall in together. And it'll be nice because of how our early schedule played out. We've already spent 10-plus hours on the bus this week, and we got another 3 coming at us right now this afternoon. We got another game Tuesday at home, thankfully, and we will need a little break. We will need a little time off. But once April hits, we know how jam-packed our schedule is. And personally, I like it, and I think the kids do as well. Most kids in most sports, they like to play. They're not crazy about practice. You get your few practice junkies, but a lot of kids, they just want to play. And we get an opportunity to do that. We get a lot of games in a short amount of time. And this year's schedule isn't near as bad as what even last year's schedule was. Kind of part of the reasoning of getting in this new tournament, we got out of an old tournament that fell right in the middle of the month of April, where we had 4 games in a 24-hour time period between Friday night to Saturday afternoon. And that really affected us last year. We kind of lost our legs at that point and never really were able to get back throughout the rest of the season. So I'm hopeful that I've made some adjustments that will allow us to get through April a little better than we did last year.
Talk about some of those kids that you're going to be relying on this spring.
Some of my returning girls that I've got, I'll just start up top. As my returning leading scorer was Whitney Warner. We're counting on her to try and match some of her productivity from last year, which will be a tough task because she was so productive last year. And I haven't been able to even play girls in the positions that I would like to be playing them in. I would like to have Sydney Cruz and Chandler Scarborough playing my internal midfield spots, but they've not really been able to do that because of other holes that I've had from starters missing, not being available to me. But in an ideal situation, when we're healthy and full strength, I'll have those girls locking up the middle of midfield for me, which is where it's at in soccer. Taylor McGowan is a returning starter for me that's just all over the field. She's been walking up my defense for me right now and playing a big role back there for me, which I know she probably didn't have in mind for herself, but has been doing a great job. Betsy Keeker is another senior captain returning for me, trying to play her all over the field as well. I've got Paisley Stewart returning in goal, which is a great thing in soccer to have an experienced, confident goalkeeper. It's a tough spot to play. It's an unrewarding spot. You don't get a lot of kids that come out to soccer saying, hey, that's the spot I want to play. And it's a critical spot on the field. So I'm glad to have Paisley around for her senior year. And a couple of girls that I will be counting on once they become available that were starters last year. I was hoping to have as my internal defenders. I'm just waiting on them to get healthy, and Kirsten McGowan and Molly Kester. Those are the girls that I'm banking on once we get to full strength here in April.
Final question for you, and you get used to it as you come on here during the spring. It's our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And this week's question is, what food would you eat at home but would not eat at a restaurant because you're afraid to get sloppy or messy or anything like that?
What food? Man, you're talking to a picky eater. Wow. That is tough.
We've come a long way since asking about what your favorite Easter candy is, I can tell you that.
Yeah, I could whip out Cadbury egg. That was an easy one. I'm a product of my father, and I'm not really embarrassed to to be a slob, I guess. So who knows? Maybe I'll give you a simple answer and say like spaghetti or something.
There you go.
That's a good choice. It can be messy and it can ruin your weekend. There's no doubt about that. Oh, Jeff, good luck to the Lady Rams, and we can't wait to talk Lady Rams soccer again soon. I understand you guys are washing cars today as well. Is that right, around 10 o'clock?
That's absolutely right. Anybody that would be available, we're washing cars at 10. The test drive for the fundraiser is going on from 9 to 3. We'd love to have anybody that would be available to come out, spend just a couple minutes filling out a form, taking a very quick test drive in a nice car. While they're doing that, they can come from 10 to 11 and benefit soccer. We can wash your car while you're taking your test drive, have it clean and ready for you to go for a little donation. And I've got my JV girls sticking at home and even lured my wife into helping supervise that for me. So we've got a full family affair going on today.
So can soccer players wash cars with hands, or do they have to strictly use their feet?
Well, we're working on that.
Oh, my. Good luck today, Jeff, and, of course, good luck to the Lady Rams over the coming weeks.
Thanks, guys.
That's Jeff Harrison, head coach of Lady Rams. Lady Rams soccer. Oh, my gosh. We went there. But the Lady Rams soccer team, of course, you just heard, they'll be washing cars starting at 10 at Ford Square. Rams baseball has 9 to 10, and should be a great day. It's an easy fundraiser at Ford Square for the Mount Vernon Township High School. Oh, athletic programs, and up to $6,000 could be raised today for MVTHS. And the Lady Rams soccer team, as far as we know, will be washing the cars with their hands. Oh, my gosh. As I try to maintain composure. Another fundraiser, of course, for the American Cancer Society and the American Kidney Fund is tonight at the Granada Center for the Arts from 7 to 11. It's a $5 admission, of course. It's a Moni Brown tribute, the Beatle Brothers tonight. That'll be, of course, Doc Walters and the Womb Raiders. Nice. I see what they did there. Womb, like the baby's in, because he's a doctor. That's pretty clever. But they'll be performing tonight, 7 to 11, $5 admission, and, of course, that goes to the American Cancer Society and the American Kidney Fund. That's the Granada Center for the Arts tonight, 7 to 11, and should be a good show. They know how to get down. Doc Walters, and, of course, any band that he's ever been with, they're pretty solid. We need to take a break on the Saturday Sports Show, or do we? Yes, we do. We'll come back. We'll talk with Matt Patterson. Talking about Lady Cardinals softball now, of course. He, of course, Mike as well, state champions in the junior high boys basketball ranks. Well, that's going to be the mission for Woodlawn softball again this year, see what they can do. We'll talk to Matt Patterson about his team. We might get to see them on Monday afternoon, the Jefferson County Invitational, weather permitting. This is a Saturday Sports Show presented by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
Learn to live healthy, learn to live well, and learn how you can live free from unexpected medical expense with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance and the Page Agency. Health insurance that covers hospital, medical, and surgical expenses offers a wide choice of deductibles and a non-tobacco user discount, too. Rising medical costs don't have to be a problem with a major medical expense policy from Pekin Insurance. This is coverage we hope you'll never need, but you just can't be without. Call the Page Agency at 242-7000 about a major medical health insurance plan today.
If you can't pick us up where you live, move. This is WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion, another Withers broadcasting station.
Hi, I'm Elaine. I've been a nurse with Good Samaritan for many, many years. One of the best things about my job is knowing that I work for a hospital that cares so much about the community. We're dedicated to attracting the best physicians and investing in the most advanced medical technologies. Whether it's radiology, oncology, or advanced heart care, we provide some of the nation's most advanced treatment options right here in Southern Illinois. That way patients never have to travel far from their families to receive the care they need. I'm always happy when families come visit, and starting in 2013, that sort of thing will happen even more. That's when Good Samaritan opens our all-new regional health center. Everything about the new center has been designed with patients in mind. It features all private rooms and family-friendly areas that make it easier for visitors to stay overnight. I can't wait to see what Good Samaritan does with this exciting new facility.
Good Samaritan Regional Health Center. Raising a hospital, raising the bar.
Your future is calling. With a GED test and some help from Rend Lake College, you can answer the call. The current test expires at the end of 2013, and your scores will expire too if you don't finish and pass the test by then. Don't feel prepared? Don't worry, we can help. Visit finishtheged.com to learn more. Don't miss the chance to turn one small step into your next big opportunity, like college, a better job, and the respect you deserve. Finish your GED by the end of 2013. Questions? Call Rend Lake College's Adult Education and Literacy Department today at 437-5321.
According to the clock, it's the second hour of the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXsports.com. Glad to have you with us, courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
Yeah, it's what healthcare should be.
Our next guest is up. And that in itself is probably the most impressive aspect of our show this morning. He's a good friend of the Saturday Sports Show, Matt Patterson. He's a coach of the Woodlawn Lady Cardinals softball team. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, guys.
You know what? You go to a sectional final last year. It's already softball time again this year. And first question I think is going to have to be, after being spoiled so much by last year's weather, how often have you guys been able to get outside this spring?
We are working on our third day currently. We're doing a little cleanup day-to-day, getting our field picked up and ready to go, and we're getting ready to practice here in about a half hour.
Rewind back to last year, a run to the sectional final. What did that do for the confidence of your team, your program, especially a team loaded with a lot of younger players?
That run at the end of the year, I think, was huge. Not even so much for the way we finished last year, but for the beginning of this year. I know in December kids were asking, what day can we practice, and they were pretty geared up and ready to go, and it's been a good, 3 weeks coming up to hopefully we get Monday in, but we're ready to go. So,
side of the same question we're asking everybody else. It's that time of year, a lot like last year where people were wearing shorts and T-shirt by now, but this year a little bit colder, a little bit more wetter outside. What has the Lady Cardinals been able to do outside this year so far for practice?
We've got about 3 days so far total, probably where we could get outside. We were out Thursday, and I think the temperature read in 38 or 40, somewhere in there. But our kids were actually excited to be out and actually on the dirt and grass instead of the gym floor. So we're starting to get a little bit of stuff done, a little bit at a time, but, game stuff will get us there, and we're in a hurry anyway. So,
of course, you lose some to graduation, but you still have a nice nucleus returning from last year's successful run. Tell us a little bit about some of the names that we'll be hearing again this season.
We lost a lot of talent. We had 2 girls that are playing college softball this year with Sutton and Vernon. And Sutton didn't play at all last year. So we got 9 or 10 kids with tons of playing experience from last year. Some of the names, we're going to be good in the circle again, I think, with sophomore Carly Etheridge and senior Paige Tufts, both getting a lot of innings this year. We got some returning all-conference kids. Cassandra Luking recently signed at Southeastern, and we all know her work ethic, and she's going to hit the ball a ton this year. Senior Peyton Tufts we'll hold down some infield spots. Sam Williams, Kelsey Bach, they're all going to be looking to provide some offensive pop for us.
Names that are synonymous with your program you're mentioning there through the junior high and high school ranks, you coach both. But when you look at your schedule, I'm looking through, you had obviously the MCC tournament, Alvarado Invitational, the Jefferson County Mount Vernon tournament on Monday. But other teams I'm seeing in Carlisle, Carmi, Vandalia, of course, Cobden's had a recent run. You've got some teams out on here along with the Sparta tournament that really beefs up your schedule as far as what goes on in the regular season.
Yeah, and, obviously that makes your record a little skeptical at times when it comes down to regional time, but it makes us better for it, and I think that really prepared us for our run last year. Our schedule's tough, and, last year we were young, and that schedule kind of caught us early, and it kind of snowballed on us a little bit until we got a little bit of confidence, but playing better teams makes you better. So
playing better teams make you better, and you'll get that opportunity on Monday at the Jefferson County tournament. What are your thoughts on that tournament, opening up with some teams in the area as far as the county is concerned?
I like it. You're going to always get some good games. Waltonville's a good program every year, so that's a conference team that we're going to have to see and a regional team that we're probably going to have to see eventually. And then you get a 3A in Mount Vernon and a powerhouse 2A in DuQuoin. I wasn't real fond of seeing us playing DuQuoin that first day out, and 3 of their D1 kids they have running around, but hopefully their pitching's not up to speed yet, and we can get going there.
Well, and definitely get going there and hopefully make another run deep into the postseason. But, Matt, it's hard to believe time for our WMIX Sports Question of the Week. And what is maybe one food that you love to eat at home, but maybe you would not eat it in a restaurant?
I kind of cheated on this on your Facebook page a little bit earlier, because I didn't know what the right answer would be, but I think I'm going to have to go with ribs.
See, that's solid logic.
That in public that's hard to do to really enjoy them. So I'd say ribs is probably the right answer.
It's hard to party and be business when you have the ribs in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But, Matt, hopefully we'll get to see you on Monday. Hopefully the weather will be nice to get that Jefferson County Invitational in. A little disappointed that there's no Mount Vernon Woodlawn matchup this year, but hopefully we can still catch up a little bit prior to the first game or maybe after the second. Good luck to the Lady Cardinals.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
That's Matt Patterson, head coach of the Woodlawn Lady Cardinals, last year's sectional finalist. See how far they go this year. Of course, we'll catch up with many of the county's softball programs and regional softball programs over the course of this year. We'll also talk some track and field until May, and then beyond that is anybody's guess here on the Saturday Sports Show.
There's ideas for the summer.
Oh, there's plenty of ideas.
The show goes year-round, so there's ideas. We've already had requests. People have ideas to come on and talk, So.
A wise man once said, sports don't take the summer off, and they certainly will not here at WMIX.
Right.
We need to talk with Jeffrey Drake. He's the voice of the Harrisburg Bulldogs on WEBQ radio. Believe it or not, that's the Withers Broadcasting sister station. Probably not hard to fathom at this point. But we'll talk with Jeffrey Drake after a quick break here on the Saturday Sports Show, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back on WMIX and WMIXsports.com after this.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Too expensive to get back into shape? Not anymore. Rend Lake College's new fitness center is only $53 per semester. They've also thought of everything with universal machines, free weights, treadmills with dedicated TV screens, ellipticals, and more. Qualified dance instructors are also available. Or go at your own pace with DVDs that can be used in the exercise room. Best of all, it's open 7 days a week. Check out the Rend Lake College Fitness Center in the Marketplace off Potomac Boulevard in Mount Vernon. Or log on to rendlakecollege.edu/Fit Center.
And we welcome you back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX online at WMIXsports.com. And our next guest, from his viewpoint from the baseline last week, not only got to broadcast a state championship game on behalf of the team that he primarily follows, but he got to see a little bit of drama as well. He is Jeffrey Drake from sister station WEBQ. Mr. Drake, good morning.
Hello, guys. How are you today?
Doing pretty good, but I have to ask, and it's not an everyday occurrence to be able to call a state championship game on behalf of a team that you broadcast all the time. And DC got to actually do a successful state championship. I got to do a runner-up back in 2009. Mike got to do both of those games here in studio, but you get to see your Bulldogs win a state title, but you also get to do it on the radio. How did that feel? Because obviously you're a Bulldog backer.
It's nice. It's certainly still hasn't really sunk in for me personally yet, but maybe it will here pretty soon. Of course, fortunate enough to be around my dad and on the air when Harrisburg won a state baseball championship in 2004. We did all the games in the football championship in 2000, and the Harrisburg parents put on a banquet earlier in the week after they'd won the state championship this year in basketball. And that's something that somebody brought up just even since the year 2000. Harrisburg's won a boys football state championship, a track and field state championship, a baseball state championship, along with a couple runners-up, and then this year capping up with a basketball state trophy. And, how big basketball is across the state, and especially in this area, that's certainly a little bit of icing on the cake, and just really thrilled for Randy Smith-Peters and all the Bulldogs to pull that one out last Saturday night. It's been a long week. It doesn't really seem like it's been that long ago, but I'm sure Harrisburg will take it. And there's nobody better this year in Class 2A basketball in Illinois, and that's something that they can be really proud of.
When you talk about the parents pitching in for this banquet, I'm going to talk about the community in general. A year ago, picking up things from the devastating tornado. What has this meant to the community in general, that state championship trophy?
Harrisburg Mayor Aaron Gregg was at the Welcome Home celebration. He's like, it just shows, we're back, the town's back, and it gave people something to rally around. I know we talked about it, Danny, when Gallatin was at the Super Sectional in the Elite 8 and 1A, and Harrisburg was there with the Ridgeways and the Harrisburgs getting as far as they did in basketball, and a year to the day or whatever it was with the Elite 8 tornado. So, it's certainly been a long year, but things are turning around. I think sports has just given everybody here a chance to maybe take their mind off of the rebuilding and the devastation. And, as time goes on, it kind of heals some stuff. And just athletics has been a very solid backbone here in Harrisburg. And I think everyone's proud of the way Harrisburg presents itself year in and year out, and not only this year, but it's certainly been an interesting year with a lot of ups and downs. But last Saturday was certainly a big up in terms of winning a basketball state championship.
The last weekend, St. Joe Ogden, a very tough game on Friday night. Ogden gutted it out. Harrisburg really had them every corner they turned around. A tough win. A Seton Academy game that was really heated, obviously very competitive throughout. That was a tough weekend for Harrisburg on back-to-back nights to pull out a state championship with the quality competition that they played.
Yeah, the Friday game, I think I was a little bit surprised. Ogden was, very good at the program. They had won 2 games, 3 or 4 years before this, and here they are in the state finals, the semifinals. But for Tyler Smith-Peters, and I think it's just come out now that he was playing that weekend on a broken foot, they just had it paved a lot better on Saturday night, knowing how bad Tyler's foot was after he kind of tweaked it in the Super Sectional against E-Town. But you could tell Smith-Peters wasn't in full swing. I think he was limited to 5 points in that Friday game, but then you had the leadership of the Henshaw and other seniors stepping up with it. The sophomore Bahari Amaya in double figures in that Friday night went over St. Joe Ogden. He really stepped up. And then fast forward to the Seton game on Saturday. I know I personally was a little concerned going in, knowing that Taylor Scott had turned an ankle and Tyler's foot was a little not 100% to say the least. But when the Weems kid gets ejected, that turned around the whole championship game and the flow, and it certainly let Harrisburg, they took advantage of it and were able to hang on down the stretch. But it was the first time Harrisburg had been in the state semifinals in basketball, and I think it's probably going to be a very memorable couple of days at Carver Arena.
Speaking of memorable, and when we were weighing the pros and cons of being up to broadcast or being on the baseline, one of the points was for the pros on being on the baseline is that you're more in the game. And what is going through your mind as you see all of that start to develop from your vantage point with not only the technical and upchurch to that kind of started everything, but then when you see their best player, their leading scorer, ejected, what's going through your mind at that point?
It happened kind of to our right, where we were at, guys, and you guys came down after the game, so I kind of missed all the medal ceremony controversy that happened there. The Seton cheerleaders were actually standing up in front of me. I didn't get a good view of that either, but when Upchurch got the technical, and I think when Smith-Peters kind of got the sideline warning, I think what Randy was trying to do was talk to the official who made the call, and I've had people say that the officials who made a couple of calls that maybe didn't go Harrisburg's way. It rotated around and wasn't near the Harrisburg sideline, which was the reason that Randy was as far out on the sideline as he was. And to speak to his credit, I mean, he wasn't given a technical foul this entire season. Smith Peters wasn't. And Upchurch kind of has a football streak in him, and Uppy, that's Uppy. And Randy Smith Peters had a comment at the banquet this week. He's kind of got a new rule with Upchurch. You tell Dakota something, if he doesn't like it, you got the Uppy rule, and you wait 10 seconds, and everything that comes out of his mouth after that, you just don't pay attention to, and let him kind of cool down some. But I think that's an attitude that he certainly got the body to be a very good football player at SIU next year. But when the technicals on Weems happened, I couldn't really see him push the official. But, if you made contact, that's certainly a bad blow for Seton, and I still think that turned the entire game around. I mean, Harrisburg couldn't get anything going offensively, and then for Henshaw to come back after that, hit the 4 free throws and make it a 1-point game at halftime. And then even taking it a step further in the third quarter, I mean, Seton scored the first few points out of halftime, but Harrisburg pulled away there in the middle of the third quarter and really helped serve the rest of the way. So, yeah, I still think if Weems hadn't gotten kicked out, then Harrisburg might be talking about a second-place trophy, but they're certainly not going to give up that championship trophy. That's just how it played out, and the Bulldogs are probably pretty happy about that.
And you talk about the controversy. It's kind of been ongoing depending on which part of the state you're in. Has that been a topic that has died off and went away as the weeks went on in Harrisburg, or is it still kind of in the forefront of everybody's minds down there with all the controversy in media and newspapers?
I think it's getting talked about quite a bit. I know the Tribune's trying to get a hold of the Harrisburg administrators quite often. I still have a hard time having a lot of sympathy for a private school from Chicago, but I didn't see the trophy thing. I think if Seton would have just taken the second-place trophy without much pomp and circumstance, and maybe we're not having this conversation. But, Randy Smith Peters is proud of his team. In terms of the racial issue, Harrisburg's got 4 African-Americans on their roster, and one of their assistants is black, too. So, I really don't see that. I honestly don't. Harrisburg is just fortunate to have been in that position to be able to win a state championship. And, they talk about attitude and everything, and the IHSA likes to promote good sportsmanship, and I'm all for that. But, in the heat of the battle, things are going to happen that, especially when you're playing for a state championship, that maybe both teams aren't terribly proud of. But I don't think Seton Academy or Harrisburg has anything to hang their heads about this year. They both had very good seasons. They were both in the top of the polls throughout the season, and it came down to the championship game that had a few technicals, and, it worked out in Harrisburg's favor. And, maybe if they play 10 times, Harrisburg doesn't win very many of them, but they won last Saturday, and that certainly counts.
Speaking of this team, I'll go back a little bit. You mentioned Upchurch is playing football at Southern. Roper is going to go to Illinois and play baseball. Henshaw is going to go play basketball. Smith Peters is going to play basketball. I mean, this team is made up of so many kids that sacrifice for each other depending on what sport's going on, even though it may not be their sport they're going to the next level at. But they sacrifice so much for each other to get to that point last week winning that state championship.
Yeah, and they were talking, too. This group has been together since 5th grade, and Roper joined them in middle school. I think the 5th grade Harrisburg team lost a couple games, and they were defending when Roper was over there. So they kind of thanked Ryan for joining on, and it just came together this year. And Tabor Scott's another junior who's got a very good chance to play basketball at the next level, and Amaya will be back, and those two are going to be 2 of the better returning players in Southern Illinois basketball next year. But you have Division I athletes starting in almost every position on the floor, and that's something that doesn't come around very often. I know maybe some comparisons were made to that 2000 state championship football team, and so throughout the season, Harrisburg wasn't tested too many games, and you wondered, how good is this team, or just how down maybe is basketball in the area. But it turned out that this team was good enough to be a state champion, and Randy Smith Peters said that maybe it'll sink in with him when they put that road sign as you come into town. It says 2013 Class 2A state champs, where it actually sinks into him. But it was something I'm really proud for him. He's been here 20 years and has won a lot of games and really turned the basketball program around. So as much as he's meant to Harrisburg High School, I'm happy for Randy Smith Peters.
I got to ask, because we dealt with it last year. You win that state title on Saturday, and you have to turn around because you do all the Harrisburg baseball games. How was it on Thursday when you rolled out for that first baseball game going, wait a minute, I was in Peoria 5 days ago?
Yeah, they opened up with a 10-run win over Hardin County at home on Thursday. After seen the weather yesterday. I wish they would have played it yesterday. It was chilly out there, and I made a comment on the air with my dad. Just the pace of baseball and basketball is quite different, but baseball is something we certainly enjoy doing all the Harrisburg games with at WEBQ and whether it's broadcasting. And it's been a long week, and I got games almost every day next week. But I think maybe in the summertime you get a chance to soak it all in, and maybe reflect a little bit. And I think Harrisburg's in for a pretty good baseball season too. When you got guys like Ryan Roper leading your pitching staff and everything. So I think Ryan's over this weekend seeing his brother Reed and his future in Illinois playing the SIU weekend series at Abe Martin Field and at Rent One Park. So I think that's one of the reasons Harrisburg isn't playing baseball this weekend. But it's been a heck of a successful sports season so far, with a state semifinal appearance in football going 11-2 and reaching the Final Four in 4A, and then winning the basketball state championship. It's not too much to complain about.
Not too much to complain about at all. And, of course, you mentioned the one game out there in the cold. I had 3 in the cold weather, so I really don't want to hear about the one. But that's all right. We're glad that you're able. Hey, we're glad that you actually got out there and broadcasted some baseball. However, but we'll leave that alone. Jeffrey, all that aside, congratulations to you on getting the broadcast state championship. But we can't let you go without the WMIX Sports Question of the Week, which is sometimes we all have that food that we like to eat at home, or maybe we'll eat it in private at work, but we don't like to eat that particular food at a restaurant. Maybe we don't feel comfortable or it's messy. What is that food for you?
I'm a macaroni and cheese kind of guy. I don't know if I order that much when I go out, but I like macaroni and cheese. And I'm not much of a cook, and I can actually make that, so macaroni's not too bad. I'm not glad to admit that.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Oh,
Did you see
man.
that one coming or not?
Do what?
Did you see that answer coming, or that?
I wasn't quite sure we were going to go. I mean, I knew it wasn't Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, that's one of my many vices.
There you go. My man, I'm sure we'll see you sometime before we meet up in the baseball season. Until then, the best to you, the best to your bride, and I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Chris, Danny, have a good weekend. If I don't see you, I'll see you at Rend One Park in about a month for the Rams.
You betcha.
Amen to that. That's Jeffrey Drake, voice of the Bulldogs, on sister station WEBQ. Also, in case you're wondering, news director for WQRL, WISH, and WMCL, our sister stations as well. We need to take a break. What time is it? It's about 5 minutes until the bottom of the hour. We'll take a break and come back. When we do, we'll have Rend Lake College Warriors basketball coach Randy House on the line. This is a Saturday sports show from WMIX, WMIXsports.com, powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back after these.
State Farm, this is Jessica.
Hey, Jessica, Jerry Newman. Does State Farm offer more discounts to more drivers?
Yep, like the good driver discount.
So it's for good, but not great drivers.
No, Jerry. There's also the multi-line discount.
For calling from multiple lines while driving.
You should never use a phone while driving.
I only make calls from my car when I'm stuck in a ditch or something.
Are you in a ditch?
Yes, I am.
State Farm offers more discounts to more drivers than any other insurance company. Get to a better state.
One more reason to call State Farm agent Tony Boldt in Mount Vernon at 242-1421.
When an emergency happens, time is everything, and you don't want to spend time in a waiting room. So choose Crossroads Community Hospital. With our 30 minutes or less ER service pledge, the entire team is committed to working diligently to have you initially seen by a physician within 30 minutes of your arrival. When minutes matter, choose the ER that doesn't waste time. Choose Crossroads Community Hospital. Visit crossroadscommunityhospital.com to learn more. If you are experiencing a medical emergency, call 911.
Welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Joining us alongside now, the head coach of the Rend Lake College men's basketball team, heading to the national tournament, Randy House. Mr. House, how are you on this fine Saturday morning?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Well, doing well, and I got to go back to last weekend. Basically, you had to have two games based on the road, but really the Sunday afternoon game was on the road. You had to beat John Wood at home on their home floor.
That's correct, and thankfully we got that done.
got that done and beat them in a very tough game. Now, from that point, and to explain to our listeners how this works, the JUCO National Tournament's at Danville, Illinois this week coming up. How does that work as far as who you play, where you play them, and who's seeded what and where? How does that process work at the junior college level?
Well, it's honestly, it's kind of like at the NCAA level. They take all of the teams, they look at their records, they look at strength of schedule, they look at all of that stuff, and then they seed the top 8, what the committee feels is the top 8, and then they blind draw the final 8. So we got a 4 seed. So the committee thought enough of our body of work for the year that we deserve the 4 ranking.
And with a week off, basically it's going to be over a week. Is that good, bad, or indifferent as far as you're concerned in having to have a basketball team out and about that much time off?
Well, I just assume be playing games, but I don't get much say in the thing. So, we'll make the best of the situation, and the thing of it is that it is equal for everybody. I mean, there's nobody else that's getting to play games, and we're having to sit and watch. So the thing about it is it's fair. Everybody was done. Some guys were done earlier than us. They played, they played a Friday game or a Saturday game for their region championship, so they've actually been off a day or two longer than we have.
Day or two longer, and your team will open up, I believe it is Tuesday night at 8:30. A team out of Maryland. What do you know about this team out of Maryland you're going to play on Tuesday?
Well, we've watched, per NCAA rules, we exchange tapes with that school, so they got to see our game against John Wood, and we get to see their game against Beaver County that they won 96-95. They're a good team. Their record doesn't show. They had an 11-game losing streak in the middle of the season. But that's the nice thing about the JUCO tournament. It's kind of like high school. Everybody gets to go to the regional, and you've got to put together 2 or 3 games. And if you're hot, you're in, and if you're not, you're going home. And so, they play hard. They're not huge. They're about the same size as us. I would say their athleticism is about the same as ours. And so, it should be a good game. I think maybe we can do some things. They play a 1-3-1 zone quite a lot. So I think there's some things that. Some opportunities there, but, opportunities have got to be taken advantage of. So we're not just going to be able to show up and win. We're going to have to come and play.
From afar, looking at your program and looking at your team, you're building, to me, what I think is something that a lot of coaches, a lot of programs don't do, is a family atmosphere. You're including guys that started when you got there, including them even though they're not there anymore, in the equation of making this run and doing so well. Talk about the family atmosphere you're building with this program right now.
Well, honestly, that's kind of come, I guess, from the high school level. Whenever I was in high school, we weren't just playing for ourselves or for Coach Aaron. We were playing for all of those guys that had put on the uniform with all the stars, and we had to represent, and we had to come out and those guys are the ones that set the table to give us that opportunity to maybe have that extra pair of shoes that other schools didn't get, or to have that letter jacket in a different type than all the other schools got. And one thing that Coach Aaron always preached was that we would, it's okay to be booed, and it's okay to go in expecting to win, and he didn't want us arrogant, but he wanted us confident. And that's the one thing that I've tried to carry over to these kids is that, we're not going to be scared of anybody. We've got to respect everybody. And we've got to take our hats off to those guys that were there my first year, that only had me, didn't have any assistant coaches. We only had 7 or 8 guys. Those are the guys that actually set the table for last year. And then you've got, we brought in kids like Tanal Rowland and guys like that stepped it up and played really, really hard. And we were only 6 or 7 deep last year. They did what they had to do to set the tone to go 4-12 in the conference and still get to a national tournament. And, so then we go out and we get guys this year, and we want them to have respect for those guys that did that before them, because they're the ones that gave these guys that opportunity to get to this level, to get here, to work their butts off. And we're looking at it as we got a 4-game season left. And fortunately, I guess we're in a situation that, if things don't work out right on Tuesday night, we still get to play another game. But, we've kind of only been looking at the right side of the bracket and not the left.
Speaking of something you're doing that's a lot different than what most schools and teams will do, talk about your weekend this weekend. It's a lot of team building, team bonding things going on before you step into that national tournament Tuesday night in Danville.
You know, we try to do things on and off all year as a team and include everybody, and that's away from the court. You know, we've got practice at 11. As a matter of fact, I'm in El Dorado right now watching a 6th grade game, and I think actually the 6th grade game is for the championship of the world. I'm not sure of that, but listening to the moms and the dads yell, I think it is absolutely for the championship of the world. But I got to get out of here, and we've got practice at 11. And then we're going to head up to Woodlawn, if you know where that's at, and Dawson and Bronson's mom and dad are fixing, and some of their friends are fixing lunch for the team, and we're going to eat. And then I've got to run up to Toledo, Illinois, and watch an All-Star game tonight because, you know, as you know, especially at the college level, I got to find a team for next year. It's not like the high school level where you can just look and see who's juniors and know you're getting all those back. I got to keep getting me a team for next year, and I got to try to make them better than they were this year because that's my obligation to those kids. And then tomorrow morning we're going to get up and Dawson and Bronson's father is a preacher, and we're going to load up and we're going to go up and listen to him preach, and the church is going to feed us afterwards. And you know, I'm not saying whether it's right or it's wrong, and not looking for any accolades on it, but that's one thing that we do as a team. You know, we include the good Lord in everything that we do, and we give him thanks for the opportunity to play, not after we win or lose. We give him the thanks just for being able to show up and have the opportunity to play.
As I have texted with you this week, I sampled some of the potato salad that has been made by my teacher aide. I'm going to tell you right now, you need to grab some of that and maybe extras, maybe 2 or 3 servings, because potato salad is going to be amazing today at this meal. I'm telling you right now.
Well, I tell you what, that's one of the benefits of being the coach is I will, if I choose, be able to be the first guy in line. So, you know, I do withhold that right, and I very seldom ever use my authority with the team as far as being the top dog. But when it comes to food, I may have to step to the front of the line and make sure, because I wouldn't want any of these kids to get food poisoning before a big game. They can do without me, but the team can't do without them.
Right, and again, the potato salad's there. I've heard the menu yesterday at work from the Verhein's mom, and I'm telling you right now, they will not go away hungry in this case with all the food that's coming in. I'm telling you right now.
I'm expecting that, you know, as the good Lord has always said, I'm expecting that there will be enough there for everybody and probably anybody else in the whole town that wants to come by. There will probably be enough food there for everybody.
Oh, there will be enough. And speaking of food, it kind of leads us to our WMIX Sports social media question of the week. And this week's question is, what food would you eat at home but may not eat at a restaurant? You know, if it gets sloppy or messy or whatever, what food would you eat at home but probably not at a restaurant?
Well, I weigh 300 pounds, so I'm going to eat about anywhere.
Right.
About anything, anywhere. So what would I eat at home that I wouldn't eat at a restaurant?
Right.
What did you pick?
Well, I put down like crab, because you got to spend so much time busting the crab shells open, and or spaghetti because it kind of messes around. Other people picked ribs as an option.
So you're telling me you're not going to go to Joe's Crab Shack, or you're not going to go to 17th Street or any place like that? Man, I'll eat that all day long in front of anybody that wants to watch me.
So you don't have any problem with getting sloppy?
I don't know that I've got any. No, I'm
okay.
Not. I'll get right in there. That's what they make napkins for.
That's kind of, yeah, I understand. You sound like our guy here on the board, Jeff Crow, because he said, I don't care. I'll eat anything anywhere.
No, I'll eat anything anywhere, you know, from raw oysters to sushi to steak to you name it, I'll eat it.
Hey, we figured that with you. Hey, Coach, thanks for joining us. Good luck today and this weekend with all the fun stuff you got going on, especially good luck next week and win 4 more games and bring that national championship back to Southern Illinois.
Well, I tell you what, we're going to do our best, and you know what, my feelings about this team are not going to change whether we go up there and win 4 or lose 2, but you know, we're going to do everything in our power and to play the best that we can and let the chips fall where they may.
Thank you very much for joining us today.
You bet. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. That's Randy House, head coach of Rend Lake College Basketball Warriors. Of course, Michael, a little local flair for us in the area as far as players, because Woodlawn's own Dawson and Bronson Verhines, along with many others on that team, and boy, 2 years in a row, the national tournament, looking to make a splash this week in Danville.
He mentioned something about they had to exchange tapes, and as long as you exchange one, that's good, because I've seen him about 6 times this year, and Randy's mixed that lineup several times, and they're hard to scout. They're so versatile, and I think that's one difference that this team is bringing to the table that others might not be as fortunate, because all their bigs can handle the ball. They can shoot the ball. They shoot free throws rather well. Their defense is pretty good, but their versatility is one thing that really stands out. And you know, we're closer to Dawson and Bronson naturally, and we know how versatile they are as we've seen them all through high school, but they've taken that to the level in college as well. I mean, many times I've seen Bronson block a shot, go after the rebound, then bring the ball down the floor and get an assist on a play. So they can do that. But Rend Lake is going to be very tough to handle in this junior college championship run that they're going to have presented to themselves starting Tuesday night, just on their versatility alone.
Speaking of that, Rend Lake will play Tuesday night in Danville at 8:30. Speaking of stuff going on here, we need to take a break here on the Saturday Sports Show. We'll take a break and come back and round this baby up and figure out what else we're going to talk about here the rest of the way. You're listening to Saturday Sports Show, brought to you by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Back in a few to talk some more sports.
Ring it along. Did he get it up? Get up, baby. Holy mackerel. He has done it again. A grand slam home run.
John, it's time to get up. We got to get over to Busch Stadium. We've got a game to call. Get up, baby. Get up.
It's 3 a.m., Mike.
Stay on the man set. If you're 15 minutes early, you're late.
Oh, I guess I'm ready, too. Make sure you join us all season long right here.
Only in Cardinal Nation.
It's Cardinal Baseball on 50,000 watts of today's hot country. 94.1 WMIX.
The Medicine Shop wants to become your pharmacy of choice. It's so easy to transfer your prescription. All it takes is a phone call from you. And the Medicine Shop will take care of the rest. They accept Medco, TRICARE, Express Scripts, and many 90-day plans as well. Plus, you'll find their pharmacy staff so helpful. No long wait times, no hassles getting in and out of their pharmacy. Here's pharmacist and pharmacy owner Eric Black.
In almost every case, if a person has PPO or HMO insurance where they pay a copay at the cash register, that copay will be identical wherever you go. And even if your card says Humana or Walmart or Walgreens, chances are you can use that prescription card anywhere. Just to be sure, give us a call and we can tell you over the phone if that's the case with your specific plan.
Don't forget to ask the Medicine Shop about delivery service to your home or workplace. Convenience and friendliness, all for the same cost. Only at the Medicine Shop, 2339 Broadway in Mount Vernon.
And welcome back to the Saturday Sports Show, WMIX, WMIXSports.com. Powered by Crossroads Community Hospital. It's more than a hospital.
It's what healthcare should be.
Glad to have you with us this morning. We hope you've enjoyed the program up until this point. Tim Holloway, Lance Boldt, of course, Mount Vernon Rams and Lady Rams, baseball and soccer, respectively. We spoke with Sam Root, good grief, of the Weber Trojans baseball team. Jeff Harrison joined us, Lady Rams soccer. Matt Patterson, Woodlawn Lady Cardinals softball. Jeff Drake of the voice of the Harrisburg Bulldogs on WEBQ, and then you just heard Randy House and the Rend Lake College Warriors. They will be in action, of course, 8:30 on Tuesday. You can hear that game on our sister station, Q106 and WQRLradio.com. Of course, you can hear every Rend Lake College game in that tournament, courtesy of Crossroads Community Hospital. Of course, they are stepping up to help sponsor that. Actually, they are the official voice of Rend Lake College at this point on Q106 for the Rend Lake College Warriors run to what we hope will be a national championship. So, all of that aside, don't forget you can drive one for your school today, if you're Mount Vernon Township High School anyway, at Ford Square. That'll be until 3:30 this afternoon. Just head to the back entrance of Ford Square, right here on Broadway in Mount Vernon, a few blocks down from us. $20 per vehicle test driven will go back to Mount Vernon Township High School Athletic Department up until 10 o'clock. Car wash donations support Rams baseball, I understand it. And then from 10 to 11, it'll be Lady Rams soccer out there washing cars. And then the benefit to Granada tonight, don't forget, Doc Walters and the Womb Raiders will be performing 7 until 11 at the Granada Center for the Arts. $5 donation. Proceeds, of course, will go to the American Cancer Society, and I forgot to write down the other charity. It's on that sheet to our right. I believe the American Kidney, is it Foundation? American Kidney Fund, I was close. But that's going to be a great thing tonight at the Granada as well. So those are some of your events today, and of course, congratulations. We have state champions in Mount Vernon. You can find the picture on our Facebook page, facebook.com/WMIX Sports, of the Mount Vernon Township High School Special Olympics basketball team. They win a state title today.
Yep, 38-30 over Hersey. Division I Special Olympics champions in the state.
So not a bad deal.
No, orange and black looks good.
Yeah, those are new uniforms.
Yep.
And they look great. I mean, they look absolutely incredible. And, of course, I'm not going to say obviously the uniforms didn't win that state title, but congratulations to all those who participated in Coach Clody for that effort today. And, of course, they are state champions. And you can find that picture again on Facebook, facebook.com/WMIX Sports. They have been all over the Twitterverse as well. So congratulations to them. And, of course, gentlemen, I think we all saw something last week that we cannot unsee. And that's up in Peoria with Seton Academy and Harrisburg. And regardless of how you feel, regardless of where you're from, obviously punishments having been threatened by the association. And let's face it, and it's just my opinion, you're not ever going to see a private school punished without a public school being punished at the same time, regardless of fault, ever. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes down out of what had happened last week. And in case you did not see, in case you have not heard, in last week's 2A state championship game between Harrisburg and Seton Academy, all control was lost at some point. Dakota Upchurch was rung up for a technical foul last week for Harrisburg. At some point after that, the officials had rotated. Randy Smith-Peters was trying to get his point across and talk to the official that called the technical. So he had a sideline warning, a bench warning, so to speak. And then late in the second quarter, of course, Weems, arguably the best player and leading scorer for Seton Academy, picked up a technical foul. We're unsure if that was for the contact that may have been between him and Tyler Smith-Peters, but then made contact with the official, and I'm in agreement with that. You can't touch an official at all. And so that was the second technical, and he was ejected, and it just kind of went to Hades from there. And second half was much better. But you could tell that there had been conversations with many in the locker rooms at the halftime break in that one, and that was just the craziest championship I've ever seen in my life.
I just think that there's so many things, and just try to narrow it down to a few. I was appalled with the language that was being strewn on the court. I've called games on the floor. The seats I ended up having this year were three rows off the floor, right behind the scores table. I heard everything. I can't believe that a set of officials let the language go on right after the opening tip-off until the end of the horn. I was absolutely appalled.
Well, and we really haven't even gotten to talk about this up until now.
Unbelievable.
I know where we were, because we were either going to be on the baseline or up, and we agreed to take whatever WEBQ did not want, and they had decided to go on the baseline, and rightfully so, and so we sat up a little bit higher from a different perspective, and so couldn't really hear language on the floor. But, and this just being my opinion, we have officials all across Southern Illinois that do a great job. We have officials all across this great state who do phenomenal things, but it just seemed like there was little control. And then the rotation and the avoidance of an explanation after some of the calls that were or were not made, that just seemed to be when things just straight went south. And it was amazing to see some of the things that were let go, but then some of the things that were picked up.
I think it has to be, you look at the whole situation, it was going to be a hotly competitive game. It's a state championship, number one. Number two, same crew, several of us in this room saw multiple times. And we are spoiled with the officiating we have in Southern Illinois. It is very good. However, this crew multiple times showed they were not ready for the spotlight of games, no matter if sectional, super, or state. Whether that's, whatever, off night or nights, they were a part of this equation of things getting out of control, calling things, not calling things, whatever. Players didn't know what the line was of fouls and not fouls. Players started jawing a little bit, started getting technicals. No excuse to touch the official. That's an automatic. No, I don't care how bad the official is or not. You don't touch officials. I'm sorry, you just don't. And everything that went down, and then we hear right before half that Jay Thompson, the AD at Harrisburg, was being paged. So they had this little powwow underneath that nobody knew about until after the weekend, where the administration, ADs, and coaches all met in the locker room from both sides. Now, the threat was out there of calling the game at half. I guarantee you, with the money that was sitting in the stands, that was not going to happen unless there was, something. If they'd have called that game off, there'd have been a lot of people waiting for refunds. So that wasn't even an option, even though you can threaten. Now everything comes out after the game of racist kind of things being said or done towards Harrisburg, or Harrisburg did them, I should say. Whatever the case may be, the meeting is this weekend in in Peoria, where they have their monthly meeting or whatever, yearly meeting, whatever. They're going to discuss it. And I think like NASCAR does, Monday, Tuesday, you're going to have something come out where IHSA is going to level some sort of punishment. I'm leaning towards the blanket statement of both schools didn't do what they were supposed to, didn't do a lot of sportsmanship. Both schools are going to have to go through some kind of IHSA officiated training where you are all the people involved, coaches, ADs, administration will have to go through, if not some players who are left back over, because it's hard to punish a senior when he's not going to play anymore. But it's something along that line is going to come down, a blanket statement where they have to attend some kind of seminar, trainings, or meetings or otherwise by a certain date to not be in trouble with the IHSA and to, and then the inevitable slap on the wrist, year or two probation, don't do this again kind of thing. That's kind of what I see out of this. I don't see how much more you can get out of it than that.
What kind of got to me was when Harrisburg was brought up in the sportsmanship conversation. And sure, you had the Upchurch technical, and then you had maybe one other player that at times displayed a lack of sportsmanship. But really, I thought the other three, as far as the starters are concerned, plus the kids off the bench, unless there was language I just did not hear from where I was, I really thought the other three were fine. And you'd hate to see that. And same for Seton. They had kids that were great.
Sure.
But you hate to see the black eye not only on the game, but on those kids as well, whenever they may not have done anything out of line. And the thing that I think kind of got to me, and you brought it up, and I wasn't going to go there unless somebody else did, was the fact that, no control. And
there was none.
Not from start. And finally, and I sent out a text message, I can't remember, I think, many of our friends that join us on the Saturday Sports Show were up in Peoria as well, and one was back home because for whatever reason he couldn't stay the entire time and had to leave a couple days early. But I said that most of the IHSA officials are going to need breath mints coming out of this half because they will have chewed some rump in the tunnels. And you can tell that's exactly what happened because everybody, the leadership from the officiating to the coaching staffs, all kind of had their tails between their legs when they came out of that halftime locker room. And you expected that to happen. But I just think that in terms of what went down in a state championship game, not only was it intense and insane, it was just very surprising and something I don't think that I will ever forget having seen in such in an atmosphere like that. I mean, everybody was unhappy. It wasn't one of those things where, there was very small representation from Seton Academy. Harrisburg obviously had a little bit larger, but the common fans, the 1A kids that stuck around, the St. Joe Ogden fans that were sticking around because they were waiting until halftime for the medals, everybody was up in arms. Both sides. It seemed like everything that happened, everybody was up in arms about it due to the lack of perceived control.
The deal starts with, when you look at it minus all the allegations, the technical, they called it on the kids, which they rightly should have. Did one player get away with something? There's no doubt one player got away with something. He's done it for a while. You look at the fact that Randy Smith-Peters got a coach's warning. Now, I've been going to state tournament a long time. It's rare that you see a coach's warning because usually they'll roll by and just say, hey, calm down. We're all here on TV or whatever. Keep them calm. But, again, the control of the officials kind of precipitated everything. The competition was going to be there and everything, and that is where it lies. And now, like Chris said, halftime you had some chewing going on somewhere because when the officials came back out the second half, it was like totally different crew. They were calling everything. They were calling fouls on people in the stands. By that point, it's too late. It was like two different championship games. It's too late. People were off kilter. People weren't able to concentrate and do what they needed to do. The second half was much better than the first. And it took almost to the fourth quarter before it settled down into a championship mode. And then after the game's over, you have all these theatrics and people not accepting trophy and not accepting medals and walking off, and you need security. And then the unfortunate thing is Harrisburg gets told to go home, get off the floor. They just won a state title, and you got 3 minutes, get out of the building. So everything was unfortunate, everything that happened, and there's a lot of people who are at fault in this, not just one particular party.
Well, when we found out Friday night the rotation of the championship officials, I know the first thing that went through my mind.
Yeah, oh yeah. Uh-oh.
And it was sort of comical with some of the other people just in my immediate area where I was actually sitting, that you just don't know to what magnitude, but I had a family from Sisney sitting right beside me and some other friends around the area that have been sort of sitting by for years when we're not broadcasting games on the floor. And I said, folks, sit back, you're going to see something. But I surely didn't think of that magnitude. We knew you was going to see some calls here and there that you're going to shake your heads on,
yes.
but not anything like erupted. But first off, I'm pointing blame. I'll say it, and I wish we had him on the air right now. You just can't put guys like that in that position. That's it. You blame the association. You blame the director of officials. I mean, you cannot tell me you couldn't see how they officiated the previous game. And knew in your mind, are these the right guys that's going to take charge in a 2A championship game? And I was for Harrisburg to win by 150 points. I don't like Seton Academy. I don't like the way they do business. I think Coach Thomas is a good, straight-up guy.
Key
I
words.
think he is.
Do business.
Yeah, I think he is a straight-up guy and a good X and O's coach, has good rapport with his kids. But I think another thing on where we were sitting at, Coach Smith-Peters actually had 2 bench warnings. I don't think a lot of people knows that.
That's true.
He had 2. And then on the third one, basically you can argue as a coach, I know you have players that are on the end of your bench. He was all the way down on the sidelines again, and they warned him to get back up into the area.
Keep in mind,
I have been to a bunch of them. I was starting to tell this to the other people. I've been going to state tournament since 1972. I boycotted the first year at Peoria. Having said that, starting in 72, back when there was 2 class systems, I would go both weekends. So I'm not going to do the math real quick, but I've seen a few tournaments. This is, in that championship game, you can put any adjective you want to link to it, the worst of every aspect of basketball that I've ever seen at a state level. Every aspect of that game.
You have to look, too. We'll go back to Friday night. Why on earth, and I think the IHSA has got to look at their system and how they bring officials up there, because there's some good old boy stuff going on, but there's also some, legit officials get there. I go back to Friday night. I go back to Friday afternoon. The Illini Central semifinal. There was a guy on the game there that had a lot of Illini Central games and or close tie to them. It's Friday night, Southern Illinois crew has to do the Harrisburg game. There is absolutely no reason to put those guys in that situation. They did a great job. John Downey, Ray Bates, and Ron Stanner did a fantastic job in the situation they were given to them. You don't put those guys on that game. You look and see, and you go out and observe these officials you're going to have, not once, not twice. You may have to do it 3, 4, 5 times. But the system of bringing officials to the state tournament to do games is something that may have to be tweaked by the IHSA, because they're going to have to figure into these situations, who's refereeing, who's here, or have they done games this year with this team? Do they do a lot of games in different sports with this team? What's the situation? There's no, again, they did a great job, but there's no reason for the Southern Illinois crew to be on that Harrisburg game on Friday night. Absolutely none.
Well, and, you mentioned that perfectly, that Ron, John, Ray all did a great job. And did a great job. They nailed the championship game. I thought I watched it on TV. I didn't make it to the arena for the first 2 games. Didn't see the first game, but I thought the officiating was great up until that night. And you mentioned what you told the people around you. I probably should be embarrassed to admit this. I sent it to, and one of my other group messages was, "This will not end well." And you mentioned, Shane Witzel gets a technical from this crew for what, being a foot maybe out of the coach's box? That was the excuse.
4 technicals by this crew in the last 5 games they did in the postseason.
And we're not.
Technicals are supposed to bring sanity to the situation,
right.
not fuel the fire.
Right. And from having seen them before, they're a great officiating crew. They're good. It's just for whatever reason in this postseason, it just did not happen, and that's my opinion, and my opinion only, not fact. But it was a crazy scenario, and things only got worse due to what I perceive to be a lack of control. And I'm not an end-all, be-all on that, but obviously punishments are going to be handed down from the association on the 2 schools, and that means that it did not end well, and that's just a crazy.
Yeah, and that takes away from everything. That takes away from the championship a little bit, but it don't matter. That trophy isn't going to be in the trophy case. They're going to get a sign out by the city limits, and that's fantastic. And that's who I wanted to see win the basketball game, but I just hated the way it ended in that particular way for the fans. Because I tell you what, the little group that was Seton Academy fans grew at some point in that game. They picked up the casual fans the way things were going. And then it was Harrisburg basically against everybody else in the stands. And that's not what you want to see. You want everybody to have a good time, and there's some faction of people who didn't.
Well, and it was kind of funny because as media, you don't root, you can't root. But you kind of tell that it was definitely a split between public and private because the media seemed to be edging that way. But all in all, it was crazy, but it's always a good time up there in Peoria, which is why we did the show from up there last week. And IHSA, for all intents and purposes, regardless of what happens here, always treats us well, and we will always appreciate that and thank them for everything that they do for us. And eternally grateful for Matt Trojan, the job that he does at the IHSA, and we certainly never factor him into any type of that equation because he is always money, and we appreciate everything he does for us. It'll be a busy week, we hope, next week. Hoping to get 2 Lady Rams softball games on the air Monday from the Jefferson County Invitational. Coverage slated to begin at 3:45 Monday afternoon right here on AM 940 and WMIXsports.com. And then on Tuesday, we head to Triad for Rams baseball. Wednesday, Waterloo comes here. No longer a game on Thursday. Hamilton County canceled with the Lady Rams, so there is no Lady Rams softball on Thursday. And then we're back here Saturday for the Saturday Sports Show. And then what we hope will be a great doubleheader of Rams baseball from Brennan Klein Memorial Field as they will welcome the Green Wave from Mattoon. Should be a dandy. We hope you'll join us for all of that and more. We appreciate you for taking the time to tune in today for the Saturday Sports Show. This episode will be archived on WMIXsports.com. as we archive every local sports broadcast on WMIX. Of course, this is AM 940, WMIX, Mount Vernon, Marion, Terre Haute, a free service from Withers Broadcasting. Until next week, NBC News, now.